This phone right here is the brand new Sony Xperia 1 Mark V. And when it comes to photography and content creation, it's by far one of the most interesting phones I've ever had the pleasure to try. You see, this little device right here is equipped with many things that you usually only see in professional cameras. We're talking things like AI-powered autofocus that is really fast and accurate. You also have true optical zoom and natural render skin tone and S-Cinetone for mobile. And then you even got 4K 120 FPS recording across all the different lenses. But what's probably the most important update of them all is a brand new next generation image sensor that offers double the sensitivity of previous Xperia models. However, with all that being said, the real question is obviously, is it actually any good? Well, in this video we're going to put it to the test and see if we can find that out together. And we start with the heart of the phone, the new image sensor Expert T for mobile. And this is where Sony says that they made a significant improvement over previous models and maybe even managed to change the game. Because this enhanced sensitivity and computal, this is such a hard word for me in English, but computeral processing, I cannot say that word, but you understand, it's a computer processing that enables me to capture images in a broader range of lighting conditions to a degree that simply wasn't possible with older smartphones. The photos that you're able to capture on this device are clear with very little noise, and the dynamic range, it basically allows me to retain so much more detail in the highlights and in the shadow areas. And that is something that I personally, and I think like all photographers, like a whole lot. As you can see here in these photos I've been throwing up, the amount of detail and textures, even when it's dark, it's simply just amazing to say the least. And when it comes to taking pictures of people, portrait photography, if you will, with a rolling R's, because we are from Iceland here, then you're actually able to get really professional look even when the lighting conditions aren't perfect. And that is something that most of us appreciate with a smartphone, because you always have it in your pocket if you're as hooked on a smartphone as I am. Meaning that you're outside in all different conditions, whipping out the phone, bam, 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 getting some cool photos. I like that.
Just like the previous Xperia models, then this one is also equipped with 3 different lenses. We have a 16mm ultra-wide angle, a 24mm wide angle, and then a true optical zoom from 85 to 125mm. Now personally, I'm a big fan of having all these different lenses on a smartphone because it just allows me to get more creative because I have a lot of more looks to choose from. And also, if you want to elevate your smartphone photography game, then I encourage you to try out and use all the different lenses that you have.
You see, because of the new image sensor and the 2-layer transistor picture technology, the low light capabilities this phone offers is really good, and you can get some clean, bright images even in dark scenes and low light conditions. For instance, this shot here is like remarkably clean considering it's like ISO 6000 shot on a small device. And one fun fact too is that I personally didn't see and notice that there was any northern lights out. It wasn't until I took up the phone to look at the image that I saw there is northern lights in the sky, and the phone captured it.
Alright, so it is currently pitch dark outside. I think I need to raise the ISO to we're on 16,000, it's too noisy, maybe 12,000, I think that is okay. Ideally, when it's this dark outside, you want to put your camera or your phone on a tripod, but just for the ultimate test, let's do it handheld firstly. Yeah, as you can see, I'm just in auto mode, so the only skill you need to be able to master is to click the shutter button. They made it that easy. So auto, and then just click the shutter button. Alright, so firstly, the phone is obviously making this much brighter than it actually is. There's some magic going on there. Secondly, this is surprisingly sharp considering I was holding it. I was expecting way more motion blur in it. There's some sort of magic going on there too. But if you put your phone on a tripod, then you will obviously get even sharper images like this photo here. So easy, just phone on a tripod and then, click the shutter button. No skill required, and it turns out pretty decent,
So another cool new feature the Xperia 1 Mark V has is S-Cinetone for mobile. It basically allows anyone to get natural, professional looking colors straight out of the phone itself, And personally, I like the rich expression of the mid-range colors, and obviously, as I mentioned before, the natural looking skin tones this allows me to capture. And you know what the best part is? It's that because of this, it's so easy to get that flawless, polished appearance as soon as the recording begins. And for me, this update is really much appreciated. I personally record a lot of S-Cinetone on my Alpha camera that I'm having right here, And now having this technology also inside of my smartphone, it's just pretty sick, you know. Then I think it's worth to mention that you also have 6 different popular creative looks from, you know, the Sony Alpha cameras that you can play around with to further help you in your journey creativeness. That's not the right way to put together the words. On your creative journey, I was trying to say, you know.
So when you're out filming with this phone, you can film 4K, 120 FPS across all the different lenses. And personally, I've been enjoying this a whole lot because it just allows me to get a little bit more creative when I'm out filming. And in all honesty, you know, who doesn't like some of that creamy slow motion? Now the autofocus is, as I said before, powered by AI, and it's basically the same autofocus as you have on the big Alpha cameras, which is known for being, you know, top of the line. Now we're talking eye autofocus and object tracking for video, and then you have eye autofocus and real-time tracking for photos. With other words, you know, keeping your subject in focus is made incredibly simple with this technology. And then an update Sony has made that is like, I can't describe to you how much I like it because it was so much needed that it wasn't in the previous model, is that now the UI is vertical when you're in Photography Pro or Videography Pro. So basically, when you turn the phone upside down, the UI also turns, you know, in vertical mode. Oh, I like that.
Another thing I also appreciate about Sony smartphones is that they make the devices for the photographer and filmmaker in mind. For example, you can easily use your Xperia as a screen for your Alpha camera by simply connecting it like this and then opening up this little app. Click it, clunk, open. The ease of use is great, and it's often good to have a bigger screen when you're out filming. And for the professionals out there, you who's behind the screen, then they've now added some functions to assist with video and photo shooting. I'm talking things like zebras, focus peaking, and histogram. It's pretty cool, right?
So one little update Sony has done to this phone is that they've increased the burst mode from 20 frames per second to 30 frames per second. Meaning, you know, that the burst mode now is on pair with cameras like the Alpha A1. So if you're into action photography, then this should be interesting. And you know, I've decided to ask my friend Brandon, who is a parkour artist, I don't know if you say that, to do some parkour things. Woo!
But just like on the previous devices, the Mark V also gives you like so much manual control over the footage. I don't think there is a phone on the market that gives you that. It's basically like having a mini Alpha camera in your pocket, and that I appreciate a whole lot. However, one thing that I decided about on doing a little test here, a heat management test, and I'm not sure yet, but I think that it might actually have been improved. Let's take a look. Alright, so I've been filming 4K 120 frames per second, and right now it's been filming for more than 36 minutes, and there still hasn't been any, turning down the device. It's a little bit hot, but not bad at all. And it's actually quite warm in the studio. It's probably like 24 degrees. The sun has been shining all day. And before I say like, hey, don't you live in Iceland? No, I actually don't live in Iceland, and today it's been a pretty warm day. And so I'm wearing, shorts inside here. And this is, recording in 4K 120 frames per second, and you're never gonna do this for this long. Now it's at 38 minutes. And it's still not showing, overheating sign. Now you might be sitting there behind the screen thinking to yourself, hey, I should really like this video. And also, who is this phone really for? Well, in my opinion, this phone is for anybody who's looking for a slick, thin phone that is filled with all of these professional tools that allows you to get really high-end photography and filmmaking, For me, it's been a really helpful device to have in my pocket because as a full-time content creator and a photographer myself, I rely a lot on photographing and filming in the moment. And to be able to just quickly take the phone out of my pocket and film or photograph in the moment, whatever it is that I see, is really valuable to me, and I like that a whole lot. So if that is something that intrigues your mind, then my friend, this phone is definitely something to consider.
Now, to get the most out of your Xperia and just level up your smartphone photography game in general, then you need to watch this video right here, where I give you 7 tips to do exactly that.